What would you do if scientists discovered that the sun was triggering a chain reaction capable of destroying the entire planet? And what if the governments of the world knew about it years before ordinary people did? Stay with me, because in 2012, humanity is given one impossible choice: find a way to survive the end of the world. The countdown has already begun. The story begins in 2009 when American geologist Adrian Helmsley travels to India to meet astrophysicist Dr. Satnam Suratani. Satnam has discovered something terrifying. A massive solar flare has released enormous amounts of neutrinos towards Earth. Normally, these particles would pass harmlessly through the planet, but this time, something is different. The neutrinos have mutated into a strange new type of particle, creating an unexpected physical reaction deep inside the Earth. To investigate, Adrian and Satnam travel to a remote copper mine and descend thousands of feet beneath the surface. The deeper they go, the more disturbing their discovery becomes. They eventually reach a well that extends another 6,000 feet underground. The water inside should be ordinary. Instead, it's boiling. Something deep within the Earth is heating up rapidly, and if the process continues, the consequences will be catastrophic. Adrian returns to Washington with the information and presents his findings to White House Chief of Staff Karl Anheuser. The seriousness of the discovery immediately becomes clear. Adrian is taken directly to the president. The government realizes that this isn't simply a scientific problem. It's a countdown to extinction. By 2010, the United States and dozens of other nations secretly begin working together. Their solution is extreme. They will build enormous survival vessels called arks. 9 massive structures are secretly constructed in the Himalayas, designed to protect a limited number of human beings from the coming catastrophe. But there is a problem. The arks can only hold a fraction of humanity. More than 400,000 people are eventually selected for the survival program. Scientists, engineers, politicians, wealthy individuals, and other important people are given priority. The project requires enormous amounts of money, so the government secretly sell places aboard the arks for 1 billion euros per person. While the world continues living normally, humanity's leaders are quietly preparing for its possible extinction. Valuable works of art and other important objects are transported to the arks, with Dr. Laura Wilson helping preserve humanity's cultural heritage. Meanwhile, ordinary people have absolutely no idea what's coming, and as the years pass, the secret becomes harder to contain. By 2012, the world still appears normal. In Los Angeles, Jackson Curtis is struggling to make a living as a limousine driver. He's also a science fiction writer whose marriage to Kate has fallen apart. Kate now lives with their 2 children, Noah and Lily, and her new boyfriend, Gordon. Jackson gets a chance to spend time with his children when he takes them camping in Yellowstone National Park. But Yellowstone isn't normal. The area has been sealed off by the military. Jackson and the children cross the restricted area and are quickly captured. They're taken into custody and questioned by Adrian Helmsley, who recognizes Jackson as the author of Farewell Atlantis. After they're released, they encounter a strange radio host named Charlie Frost. Charlie has been warning anyone who will listen that the world is about to end. At first, Jackson thinks he's simply another conspiracy theorist, but later that night, Charlie shows him evidence that makes Jackson reconsider everything. And then, the ground begins to shake. Charlie explains that ancient Mayan records point towards a catastrophic event occurring in 2012. He also reveals the theory of polar shifts and claims that people who discovered the truth have mysteriously died. Jackson isn't sure what to believe, but before he can investigate further, a powerful earthquake strikes Los Angeles. Suddenly, Charlie's warnings don't seem so crazy. Jackson rushes back with his children. The situation is getting worse. At the Santa Monica airport, Jackson encounters Yuri Karpov, the Russian billionaire whose children he sometimes drives around. Yuri's sons are preparing to leave the city. They warn Jackson that something terrible is coming. Jackson finally understands that staying behind could mean death. He rents a small aircraft and races to collect Kate, Gordon, and the children. Jackson arrives just as the disaster begins. The Earth's crust suddenly starts shifting on a scale nobody has ever experienced. Buildings shake violently, roads tear apart, skyscrapers collapse. The earthquake reaches an unbelievable magnitude of 10.9. Jackson manages to get his family into the aircraft just in time. As they escape Los Angeles, the city is practically torn apart beneath them. The earth splits open, buildings disappear, highways collapse, and eventually California itself begins sliding into the Pacific Ocean. Millions of people are killed in a matter of minutes. But this is only the beginning. Jackson remembers Charlie. If Charlie really knows what's happening, he might know how to survive it. So the group returns to Yellowstone. But they arrive at exactly the wrong moment. The Yellowstone supervolcano suddenly erupts. The explosion sends enormous amounts of ash and rock into the sky. The group desperately escapes while Charlie remains behind. Charlie has spent years warning the world about the coming disaster. Now as the volcano erupts around him, he continues broadcasting the truth. But he doesn't survive. His final moments become a tragic reminder that knowing the truth doesn't necessarily mean you can escape it. Jackson discovers that Charlie had a map showing the location of the mysterious arcs. The map reveals that the survival vessels are somewhere in China. The family needs a larger aircraft to reach them. They travel to Las Vegas where they encounter Yuri and his family. Yuri has his own survival plans. His twin sons, Alec and Oleg, are traveling with their father, Tamara, and their pilot, Sasha. The group manages to obtain a massive Antonov aircraft. Meanwhile, Adrian Helmsley is aboard Air Force One with Carl Anheuser and Laura Wilson. They are already heading towards the Arks. But President Wilson makes a different choice. He refuses to abandon the American people. As disaster spreads around the world, the president remains in Washington to address the nation. He knows he may be speaking to his people for the final time. Across the planet, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and massive disasters are killing billions. Then an enormous tsunami approaches Washington. The president's final moments arrive as the wave crashes into the city. The White House is destroyed, and the president is killed. Meanwhile, Adrian watches helplessly as his father and others aboard a cruise ship are caught in the destruction. The world is collapsing, and for the survivors, the race to China has become a race against time. As the disasters continue, Adrian discovers that the rescue operation hasn't gone according to plan. He had promised Satnam that he would make sure Satnam and his family were rescued, but the helicopters never arrive. Satnam, his wife, and their family are left behind. Adrian can only listen as Satnam tells him that the end has come. Satnam and his family are killed. Adrian is devastated. Meanwhile, Carl Anheuser begins taking control of the American government. With the president dead and the normal line of succession disrupted, Carl appoints himself acting commander-in-chief. His priority is simple: get the people aboard the Arks. Back in Las Vegas, Jackson's group prepares to leave. As the aircraft approaches China, it runs out of fuel. The pilots have no choice. They attempt an emergency landing on a glacier. The aircraft crashes across the frozen landscape. The survivors scramble out. Sasha remains in the cockpit, trying to keep the aircraft under control. But the plane slides towards a cliff. The others escape just in time. Sasha isn't so lucky. The aircraft goes over the edge, killing him. The survivors are now stranded in the freezing wilderness. Then helicopters appear. For a moment, they think they've been saved. But there is a catch. The Chinese military has arrived to transport people to the Arks. Yuri and his sons possess official tickets. They are allowed through. But Jackson, Kate, Noah, Lily, Gordon, and Tamara have no tickets. They're left behind. Yuri refuses to help Tamara because he has discovered that she had been having an affair with Sasha. The situation looks hopeless. But then a Buddhist monk named Nima finds them. Nima secretly takes the remaining survivors towards the Arks. His brother Tenzin is working on the construction project and helps them gain access. The group finally reaches the enormous survival vessels. The Arks are massive. They are designed to survive the destruction of civilization itself. But there isn't much time. A gigantic tsunami is approaching. People desperately rush towards the Arks. The final boarding process becomes chaotic. Then disaster strikes. An impact driver becomes trapped inside the hydraulic mechanism controlling one of the Ark's doors. The door cannot close. And because the door cannot close, the Ark cannot start its engines. The entire survival plan is suddenly in danger. Water begins rushing towards them. The Ark is surrounded by chaos. The engines struggle, and Mount Everest lies directly in the path of the Ark. Jackson realizes that if they cannot free the mechanism, the Ark will never move. He and Noah decide to take the risk. They crawl towards the machinery. The water is rising, the door is still jammed, and the tsunami is almost upon them. Inside, people are thrown around as the vessel struggles against the flood. The impact driver remains trapped in the gears. If it isn't removed, the door will stay open and the ark won't be able to operate properly. Jackson and Noah fight their way towards the mechanism. Every second matters. They finally manage to dislodge the tool. The hydraulic doors begin closing. The engines roar back to life. But there is another problem. The ark is drifting directly towards Mount Everest. The disaster claims more lives. Yuri is killed during the chaos. Gordon is also killed while trying to help the others. Tamara sacrifices herself so the remaining survivors can continue. Inside the ark, the crew desperately tries to regain control. The enormous vessel approaches the mountain. Everyone knows that if it crashes, thousands of survivors could die. The crew pushes the engines to their limits. Jackson finally rejoins Kate and the children. For the first time since the disaster began, the family is together again, but they still have to survive the collision. The ark gets dangerously close to Mount Everest. The enormous vessel crashes against the mountain. Everyone braces for impact. Metal bends. The ship shakes violently, but somehow the ark survives. The immediate danger finally passes. Jackson and Kate realize how close they came to losing each other forever. The family embraces. After everything they've experienced, their old problems suddenly seem insignificant. Jackson and Kate reconcile. They have survived the end of the world together. 27 days pass. The world has been transformed. The massive floods that covered huge portions of the planet are finally beginning to recede. The survivors aboard the arks slowly begin to understand what has happened. Human civilization as they knew it is gone, but humanity itself has survived. The arks travel towards the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. As they approach the region, something incredible appears on the horizon. The waters are retreating, revealing a dramatically changed Earth. The Drakensberg mountain range now rises above the surrounding landscape. A new world is beginning. Adrian looks towards the new Earth, knowing that humanity has been given a second chance. The people aboard the arks are no longer simply survivors. They are the beginning of whatever civilization comes next. Adrian and Laura grow closer, finding hope after losing so much. Jackson and Kate begin rebuilding their relationship as a family. Noah and Lily have survived a disaster that killed billions. The old world is gone, but the human race remains. The apocalypse was never simply about the destruction of Earth. It was about discovering what humanity would do when everything familiar was taken away. In the end, humanity doesn't survive because everyone was saved. Humanity survives because a small number of people refuse to give up. The world has changed forever. But as the arks sail towards a new beginning, one thing becomes clear. The end of the old world is also the beginning of a new one, and that's the story of 2012. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this movie explanation, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one. See you in the next video.